If you've clicked this video, you're probably confused when you should be using Performance Max and when you should be using standard shopping in 2024, or should you be using them together? In this video, I want to help you get a good understanding of Performance Max and standard shopping, the pros, the cons, and any frequently asked questions I get. I want to answer them all in this video so that you can make a decision as to when to use each one and which situations they're best suited for. So this video is based on my experience managing and analyzing thousands of Google ad accounts, right? Over the last 7 years, literally thousands of accounts I've looked at, and a lot of this is recent knowledge because I'm still doing it. So don't be surprised though that if there's some things in here that are a little bit different to what you've heard. This video is completely up to date, what's happening right now in end of May of 2024. So I'm gonna first cover off the differences between standard shopping and Performance Max. So the key difference is that standard shopping only sees your product feed and products seen on the Google Shopping Network. That's really the only place that you're gonna be seen. And so that means at the top of the search results on the shopping tab, and occasionally in a few other bits and pieces, you know, images, sometimes on YouTube, if things pop up there, if you've got the feed attached, like it can come up there. But really, you're really just coming up as a standard shopping campaign just on the shopping network. pmax, on the other hand, is through a single campaign, you are seen across all of Google's networks. So we're talking search, shopping, display, discovery, YouTube, all of these areas in a single campaign. The other major difference is that Performance Max or pmax is a conversion-based bidding strategy focused campaign. So it will only have max conversions or max conversion value. You can set a target CPA or a target return on ad spend, but really you don't have the option to do max clicks like you do in standard shopping. So a little bit of a difference there. Why does that matter? Why does it matter that it's a conversion-based bidding strategy? Because if you're an e-commerce store, you're probably going to want more conversion value. If you are a lead gen business, you're gonna want more conversions. And so the more data you feed these campaigns, and it depends on the data you feed it, the better they're gonna get. But if you feed it the incorrect data, it can perform really, really poorly, where a standard shopping campaign, it's a little bit more lenient with that stuff. It will still find you conversions. It can still outperform some pmax campaigns, but just something to note that, you know, it's very important you have your conversion tracking set up correctly in a pmax world. What are the pros of standard shopping? So standard shopping campaigns are very, very quick and easy to get set up. So you can get these set up in under a minute, really. Once you have your feed approved and everything else set up, it really takes just a few clicks and your campaign's up and running. I'll actually show you later in the video. You have a greater level of control in my view. It's a bit more forgiving in terms of how you set it up because you can just have one single campaign. It has relatively good reporting compared to Performance Max. Performance Max reporting is not great, but the rise of scripts has allowed us to improve the Performance Max reporting, particularly Mike Rowe's script. If you are going to go down the pmax route, I definitely recommend you look at the script by Mike Rowe's. So what are the cons of standard shopping? So optimizing and running the campaign is more complex and time consuming than using pmax. pmax, you know, a lot of people set and forget it. There are things you can still do to optimize, and as I said, the script there will help you look at, you know, a bit deeper under the hood of what's happening. But realistically, standard shopping does take a bit more work to run. Quite often, one simple setting, such as your bids being too low, can make the campaign just not deliver, which is a downfall. Also, because the campaign is not optimizing for conversions from the start, performance sometimes initially can be worse than a pmax campaign. But to be honest, over time, I find that even standard shopping can do really, really well. The other con is that standard shopping is probably not going to be around forever. Like, I mean, based on where Google's going, standard shopping may be, you know, it may be sunsetted and removed in the next few months, years, who knows? But it's a risk, right? It can sometimes be harder to scale a standard shopping campaign, particularly if it just will not start showing for other search terms. When you go into your search terms report, which is a beautiful thing, you have a search terms report that's easy to use, which pmax you kind of can now, but it's still trickier, I would say, than a standard shopping. It sometimes can be hard to scale those campaigns. Not always, it's just a bit fiddlier. And then I find that zombie skews an even bigger problem with standard shopping generally, but I mean, the problem does exist with pmax as well. It's probably not so much a big of a problem anymore, but as long as if you have a zombie skew issue where a particular set of products aren't being seen, just separate them out and make sure they have their own campaign. So now we've covered off standard shopping. What about Performance Max? What are the pros of Performance Max? So Performance Max, you can have all in one campaign, gets your business seen, either your products or your lead gen business, gets everything seen across all of the Google network in a single campaign. So you don't need to set up a campaign for YouTube and for discovery, for demand gen, which is called now, or for search. Everything's done under the one campaign. Obviously, it's not done as well as if you had all the other campaigns, but it is a quick and easy way for you to be seen across all of Google's network. Obviously, speed and how you get seen across all of those networks is a factor, but it does take longer to set up than a standard shopping campaign. It's quick to manage, but this can be deceptive because it's a different way of optimizing. It's a lot more feed focused, and it's a lot more how you set up the campaigns and structure your ad account focused rather than standard shopping. The structure matters a little less with it. It uses Google's machine learning to get you more conversion value. So if it sees a particular search term getting conversion value, it's going to hammer on that and try and get you as many conversions as possible. Can be really good to scale and can actually get you a really good cost per conversion or ROI. And on that, I'm going to move on to the cons, because sometimes it can seem like you're getting good ROI, but quite often the biggest con with Performance Max I see is that branded terms appear. And even though they have the option now to exclude branded terms, I don't find it's that good. And I find quite frequently that especially for brands well known, it will just show for brand. And it's so hard to get it to show it for anything else other than contacting Google reps, adding negative keywords, or having a standard shopping approach. Like, they're really the only ways to kind of force it, or use other campaign types to send it some more signals to go, hey, these keywords also get conversions, stop spending so much here. The issue with spending too much on brand is it just drives the cost of your own brand up. The next one is, it can be hard to analyze performance. Like, it's really not that easy to analyze the performance of all the different assets and what's working, what's not. You're kind of just leaving it up to Google to decide what works and what doesn't. And so a lot of businesses don't like that, and a lot of my clients quite often don't like it, that reporting and also the lack of control. The other thing is, it can be a bit tricky for beginners to know what to do and when on an ongoing basis, and then how do you fix poor performance? And I've got a wide range of videos on how to optimize those campaigns, but it is trickier. It's not as straightforward. And it's like, well, what do you do? The other issue again, and I mentioned it in the standard shopping as well, was that zombie SKUs can be a problem. It just depends, but I guess this is just an issue just with Google. It just will not show all your products at all times. And then sometimes pmax, it just won't spend, or it'll spend too much early. The cost per click goes through the roof. So it can be a bit temperamental, particularly if you're on a low budget, or sometimes even on a high budget it will as well. But it can just be a bit temperamental, I find, with some metrics just really going really high, like cost per click and cost per conversion on some days. So particularly if, say, like your bestseller goes out of stock, then that quite often will completely railroad the campaign. So I'm going to jump into the Google Ads dashboard and take you through the setup of each one and how you set them up, just so you're aware. Okay, so I've actually jumped into an ad account that is running a Performance Max and a standard shopping campaign side by side, just to show you the difference in what they look like and then how to set each one up. So I'll first cover off the standard shopping. So as you can see in this account, it hasn't really been spending because pmax is taking up most of the attention. So what I need to do is I actually need to lift the bid in this one to force it to spend more to be seen. But a standard shopping campaign is very, very simple. If I click into it, we have our ad groups here. And so in this one, I have all products in this ad group. You could have multiple ad groups in here, or you could have multiple product groups. It depends how you want to structure it, but I just have all products sitting under here. I've got a max CPC bid of just $1 for this. And so because it's not really delivering, I'll raise that up to try and get it to be seen more. Under products, we have our ads and assets, which really here is our products. And by products, it's just your shopping feeds. What's recently changed is under insights and reports, that's where search terms now live. So these are all the search terms that the ads are being triggered and coming up for. And so you've got a bunch of different things you can do here. Like you can add these as negative keywords. So you just click there, add as negative keyword. I'm not going to add that now. You can add audiences to your shopping campaigns. And so you could add things like people who added to cart, or you could add some in-market audiences or demographics. There's a lot of things you can play around with in here. Or, at the product level, you can remove, add products, whatever you want to do. So They're the main things you can do. You can do some bid adjustments and things like that as well. So, you know, there's definitely lots of room there to play around with standard shopping. But yeah, if you're wanting to get this to actually spend more and it's not, then you're gonna have to raise the bids here. So that's a standard shopping campaign. I'll quickly show you a Performance Max campaign. A little bit different structure. So we have asset groups and listing groups and assets and products. And the listing group is very similar to your product group, I would say. Basically, it's the products you've selected in the feed, and they're the ones that are gonna come up in shopping campaigns and things like that. So they will also be reported in products as well, though, to add a bit of confusion there for you. And then under the campaign level, we have different asset groups. For this particular business, I only have one asset group. They only sell one really type of product. They sell other ones, but realistically, it's just one type. And so it's homogeneous enough that I can just let it run, have the assets in here, and it will do its thing. If you want to change those in here, basically you click Edit Assets, and you can change the videos, you can change the images and things of that nature. Here's your listing group here, and that will, you know, you could select just your best sellers, you could select a particular product type. Really the possibilities are endless. You can obviously change your headings here, and you can have a look and see what your ads look like on the different channels. So on YouTube, Gmail, search, display, and discover. Under search is obviously shopping as well. You've got a long headline, a description, images, logos, a business name, videos. If you don't have one, it's going to auto make one. This particular business doesn't have any videos that really we want to use, so it's just using the automated one. And really that's about it. And so when you set it up, that's what you need to go through. I will quickly show you how quick it is to set up a standard shopping campaign, and I'll show you quickly a pmax as well. So if we want to set up a new campaign, what I'll do is I'll actually switch to the new design as well here, just so you're seeing it and it's a bit more live and what you're probably seeing on your end. And we either just click create or the plus symbol, and then we go new campaign. Click sales. And we really only want purchases here. So if you have a call event or something else, just remove it and then click continue. We're then going to go shopping. And we need to select the feed that is the correct one. And then we want to go standard shopping, click continue. And then we're just going to call it standard shopping. And if you're just starting off, manual CPC or maximize clicks is fine, but if you're a bit more established, target ROAS would be what I'd select. I'm just going to leave this for now. Just going to select a budget of 25 per day. Campaign priority, you can leave it as low, or if you have multiple campaigns, that's when priority comes into it. I'm going to remove the search network. I'm going to target the country I'm in. Ad group is all products. The bid here, we're just going to go $1. You can select an appropriate bid for you. Then we're going to click create campaign. And that's it. That is how quick it is to set up a standard shopping. I'll now show you how to set up a Performance Max campaign. Click create, campaign, sales, remove phone calls, click continue, click Performance Max, select your Merchant Center account, click continue. This is because I've had drafts before, so I'm just going to click start new. You may not have that. Yes, we want to optimize for conversion value. If you really have no conversion history, sometimes it's okay to start on conversions, but if you're an e-commerce store, just select value. If you're lead gen, click max conversions. Then leave this off, click next. Locations, I'm going to put Australia because this business is based in Australia. If you're just starting out, I would actually turn off final URL and text assets here so it doesn't go and find too many things. If you want to exclude your brand, you can do that here under the brand exclusion list. Then click next. You could use the asset generation with AI here to come up with some ideas for you. I'm going to do that, but basically it gives a little bit of information and scrapes your website and then comes up with some stuff. So let's just use this to generate assets. We're going to call this all products, but you could call it, best sellers. You could be your collection of tents, backpacks, whatever it is you're selling, you could put them all together. Listing group, this is where you could just select a particular set of products, or you can use all products. So if you want to select some particular products, you can use a collection, you can filter by category, brand, item ID, lots of different things there. I'll just select all products, click save. Select a final URL where you want to send your traffic. So for this one, it's just going to be the home page, and then come up with some headlines that are eye-catching, some long headlines that kind of give a bit more of a description. And then the description is also there, and these just appear in different spots. So to have a look at where they appear, just start typing and you'll see where they appear in the ad. You just don't want a lot of duplication in there, otherwise it's not really going to be able to test much, is it? Images, just select the AI images here if they're relevant. It's really just going to scrape your website. Select a logo, and you'll be able to do that from either your asset library, uploading it, or something like that. Or any of those other options you just saw. Put your business name in there. If you have a video, upload it to YouTube and use it. Site links can be handy if you want to add those. You could add your bestsellers or something like that. And then you can provide some themes. So you could, depending on what you sell, so if you sell backpacks, you could put backpacks. If you sell tents, you could put tents, outdoor furniture. You want to put in, up to 25 search terms there. The more the better, to be honest, but they kind of need to be relevant. Then you can select some of your first party data, so like your own audiences. You could put more signals here, and then you can name it, but just click next. Set a budget here. It's going to come up with a suggestion, but it's just a suggestion. You can put whatever you want, and then click next. Okay, so if any errors come about, you'll have to fix them. But then lastly, you can just hit publish campaign once all the errors are fixed, if you have any. And then that's it. That's how you set up a Performance Max campaign. So now I'm showing you on the Google Ads dashboard, how do you actually set up each of these campaigns, standard shopping and PMax. When would you use standard Google shopping campaigns? So I would consider, if you're already running standard shopping and are thinking about switching to PMax, which probably most of you already have, but if you are doing standard shopping, and this goes both ways, like consider the risk versus reward. Like, is the switch going to really get you that much more? And in most cases, it's probably not. So the bigger the business, the higher the risk. And so I would err on the side of caution and keep doing what you're doing, except if performance is really tanking on PMax or on standard shopping, you can switch to one or the other. So I think standard shopping probably suits beginners more, just because it's so quick to set up. And while there is a bit more optimization work, it really doesn't take long, and it's quite easy to pick up. There's only a few buttons you can press in a few areas, so there's not a hell of a lot you can do. If you don't have much conversion data, it can be hard to get PMax going. That's not to say you can't though. So if you're only getting 20, 30 conversions a month, it's probably not going to be enough. Really you want to be hitting 50 plus kind of conversions. The more the better. There's not a right number here. If you don't have any or have really small remarketing audiences, PMax is probably not a good one. You probably want to stick to standard. If you don't have many good assets like images, videos, and things like that, probably stick to standard shopping. If you sell a wide variety of products and it's going to take a long time to split into different asset groups, and you're a beginner, probably stick to standard shopping. If you don't have much time or experience, again, I would stick to standard shopping for most people. But again, you could do a feed-only PMax. So these are just ideas here for you to consider. If you want greater control and better reporting, for the most part, if you're not going to use the scripts, standard shopping might be a good option for you. And I find that a lot of bigger businesses actually want this more detailed than Performance Max can provide in the terms of reporting. So a lot of big businesses actually have gone to standard shopping away from PMax, I've found, just purely from a reporting basis. Obviously scripts have helped with this. So when should you use Performance Max campaigns? Again, if you're time poor and you don't want to spend a lot of time optimizing or just don't want to, PMax is a good option. If you're just super confused, then you want something, just go PMax. It doesn't hurt. You're going to be seen across all of Google's platforms. So if you do want to be seen across all of those platforms, this is the campaign type for you. If you're wanting to simply and profitably scale without lots of time spent in the ads dashboard, it's a good option. If you have plenty of conversion history with different keywords, different products, then definitely, PMax is probably going to be the best one for you, especially if you have some solid remarketing audiences on file. And if you're comfortable segmenting and spreading these different campaign types like I've shown you in other videos, definitely PMax is a good option. And if you're patient, especially at the start, and you're not going to make too many changes, you need to trust Google to go and find you buyers, go PMax. If you want to be sitting there playing a bit more, which I don't recommend most of the time, then PMax is probably not going to be right for you, particularly at the start. It does need, you know, a month, 6 weeks to try and get a bit of data to get up and running and really start going. So I'll be honest, I've found success with both campaign types. So whichever one you choose, as long as you approach it with the right strategy and optimization process, you'll still do well. But I'm going to answer now some frequently asked questions about Performance Max. So the first question I get all the time is, can you use standard shopping campaigns alongside Performance Max? The answer is yes, but it'll probably need a bit of massaging. What I'll find is that, particularly at the start, the standard shopping campaign, once you launch it, it really won't spend much until you find like the ideal target ROAS or manual bid. Until you find that, it probably won't spend much. Sometimes it does straight out of the gates, but normally it will focus on any products that PMax isn't really focusing on. So it's not a bad one to kind of, you know, as a catch-all to find other products that might do well or things that are getting picked up that aren't getting picked up in your main campaign, in your PMax. So can a beginner or a totally new account use Performance Max? So yes, a new account can use Performance Max. A lot of people advise against it, and I understand why, because you've got no conversion data there. But if you can build it relatively quickly, I've found that they can work straight out of the gates. Either way you try, like if you try standard shopping and after a few weeks or a month, it's not really getting you the results you want, you could try PMax. And likewise, like if PMax has been running for, you know, 4, 5, 6 weeks and you know, it's not getting you results, you can try going back to standard shopping, but you can use PMax as a totally new account. Do you need a big or bigger budget for PMax? I don't think so. I mean, you do if you have a high cost per conversion. You ideally want to have a budget that's significantly multiples of your cost per conversion. So, you know, the higher the better, because then it's going to have more data and more budget there to play with to get you more conversions. But they can work on small budgets as well. I'm doing well with standard shopping. Should I switch to PMax, or I guess vice versa? As I said, just weigh up the pros and cons. Obviously, the bigger the business you are, the bigger the risk it is to change. So just weigh that risk, and quite often it's easier not to. My PMax campaigns are just focusing on brand. What should I do? I'm gonna leave a video here on how to fix that, but realistically, you need to get those branded terms and separate them out, or you need to force the algorithm to find more keywords that convert for your products. So I'll leave a video here, but yeah, it's a problem with PMax, and so you are going to want to address it, but I'll address that in a totally separate video because it's a big topic. So just go watch the video. I'll leave it in the links below as well. So as you can see, there's pros and cons regardless of the campaign type, but regardless of your choice or preference, both can bring in sales for your store. So the key is to understand how they both work, and then to go ahead with a relevant strategy and the process for that particular choice. So let me know what strategies you're going to use in the comments below, or what you're currently using. If you are struggling with PMax or shopping, but are looking to take your brand to the next level with Google Ads, then just click the link below and you'll fill out a quick application to see if we're a good fit, or just message me on Instagram. That's the easiest. So thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.